What is going on, YouTube fam? How is everybody doing? It is time for a brand new weekly watch list. I hope all you guys had a wonderful weekend. I'm having a tough weekend with my Miami Dolphins. We can't seem to have a win, but my alma mater, Florida State Seminoles, let's go. 3-0. So one team 0-3, the other team 3-0. I'll take it. I'll take it. But hopefully you guys had a wonderful weekend. If you're not a football fan, hopefully you had a good time with the friends and family. It's another week and another time to dive in to our weekly Watchers watch list. If you're new here, this is something that I've been doing every single week on Mondays. So click that subscribe button if you'd like to check these out every single Monday. The next 2 Mondays, I'll actually be heading to Europe, so that's why I'm in a different setting right now. My volume might not be the best today. I apologize for that because I am traveling. I'm down in South Florida before I head over to Spain and Portugal for the next 2.5 weeks. So I won't be doing this for 2 weeks, but let's see if we can make money this week on one of these plays. I like to go through a full list of sectors to start off my list. Then I get into listed stocks, options, and then OTCs. I always start with sectors because most of my money comes from sector momentum. And that's usually when one sector is running like crazy. And last week we had that in QBTS, in QUBT. So let me show you here how nuts some of these opportunities were last week. And we're going to start with the big runner. I'd say QBTS is actually the big runner. So QBTS was able to run from $14 to 27. And now I want to keep an eye on if it doesn't break down, because you know a lot of people are shorting it right now. We want to hope that it continues, and if it continues, I'm keeping an eye on all these other ones for possibilities. RGTI was the other one, like QBTS, that did that crazy move. So if these two continue to hold, I do think the sector is going to continue, but it doesn't just need those two. There's also a great thing with sector momentum where sometimes other stocks will be slightly delayed. And a good example of that was QUBT on Friday because it ended up breaking out of that multi-month breakout and spiking 30-40% on Friday. So big opportunities are happening here in this sector. Other ones that I'm possibly looking for spikes this week would be QS, which is heading towards that 52-week breakout. QSI, we tried this one last week and didn't do too well, but after consolidating for a day, it looks like it wants to make that leg up. So I actually like this one a lot here to start the brand new week. A big possible spiker. Last week it had a tough time getting above 160, and now that it's above it, if we can hold that spot, then I'll look to possibly make this move overnight. Other quantum stocks that are in that OTC realm, because I also like OTC stocks. One that's one of my favorite watchers this week is BTQQF. And why do I like this one? Is because the news is they're going to be listed to the NASDAQ on Friday. So be on the lookout for that. They're going to be under BTQ on Friday. So usually we anticipate a big move up to that. After Friday, I'm not usually one of those people that say, hey, go play this. This is now listed. Usually we take advantage of what's there and in front of us. So BTQQF is that OTC I'm looking at, and then QNCCF would be the only other OTC for now that I'm looking at. But both decent watchers for possible uptrends and breakouts. And then the other sector is not really a sector. It's kind of one stock that got a huge spike, and there was a group of other stocks that followed, and that's Open. If you've been trading the past couple of weeks, you probably know about Open. There was this crazy guy standing out front of Drake's house talking about buy Open. Don't do that, but if you did buy Open at 2 and you're up to 9, I hope you're selling. A lot of people are still bag holding, thinking it's going to continue. If it does continue, though, because it is holding right now, if it does end up continuing and making that next leg up, there's a list of stocks that actually usually run with it. OPAD is a good watcher that's kind of been consolidating above 4 right now and looking like it could break out. We have OPI, which I don't love as much because they just announced bankruptcy. So I'm not really in love with that one. GoPro, which is interestingly enough a sympathy to Open, And GoPro brings out other possible meme stocks like Krispy Kreme donuts. So I'll keep an eye on that, which last week it got a spike. It's coming down now. And then the other two I like to watch are AIRE, maybe a bounce off of 80 here, and then LDI, which both of those it looks like are coming down pretty hard, but both of them are coming back where the spike started. So can we bounce off of that spike started level? 330 here, and AIRE would be right around 80 cents. So we'll see. If open can turn around, these ones might be able to get that volume again. And then getting into listed stocks, I liked ABAT over the weekend. The only thing that makes me really questionable is on Friday, right before the bell ended, they actually came out with an offering, which is not my favorite, but it is still holding. And usually when stocks hold after an offering, they have a good chance to squeeze. So we're keeping an eye on ABAT. RR is the leader of the robotic sector. This is actually really funny to talk about. If you didn't hear my last episode, this is a robotic bartender that's over in Vegas. They accept Coinbase now, so you can buy Bitcoin with somehow robotic big bartender. But RR, nice push up to breakout. It's looking like 520, possibly breakout levels coming up. And if that breaks out, I have a list of robotic stocks I like to watch. Wrecker, which is still drifting up. Serve, which is a higher price one. You could look for options if you're an option trader. And then also, I didn't put this one on there, but this is a little bonus. KITT, which is up 20% to start the week. So those are good watchers. AI stocks that I liked last week that were spiking. Pony, SES. So those are two AI stocks that I was watching. And then the last sector I would say that has a decent watch is this nuclear sector. OKLO made a huge move. And with that huge move in OKLO, I'm looking at other nuclear stocks. I like to look at LTBR. It's right below the breakout. It had a huge day on Friday. So if we consolidate, look for that next leg up. I got alerts ready for it. And then the last couple I was looking at, ATCH. I liked it over the weekend when I made this on Sunday, but that big gap down gets me unattracted. The other two are shorts, and the shorts I'm looking at, UAMY, this metal stock has been squeezing for a while. I'm not saying for it to come back to 4, but just another red day or two. And then BitF, because Bitcoin stocks are just, I don't even know why this one squeezed so much. So this one did just come back to 310. Now it's dipping. Not a bad one to look at for a possible short, without a doubt. And plug was my last possible short. If it has one more day, plug, I'm probably going to short this one. Let this thing spike one more day, and I'll most likely short it. Options here. MU, another one looking more on the short side. I think a lot of stocks are just overextended, that I have a better chance at finding a possible pullback on these. We talked about nuclear sector, only if it starts to calm down, but I'm not going to short a hot sector. Lyft got a huge gap up last week after announcing Waymo. So talk about robotic stocks. Waymo is a robotic, pretty much self-driving cars. But I do think that all stocks that gap up usually fill the gap down. So I'm looking for a rejection and a possible bigger pushback to close this gap down. Might not be this week, but usually gap down or the fills happen. Target is making new 52-week lows as the whole market continues to spike. I thought 88 was going to be the hold last week. I didn't try it, but if it reclaims 88 and holds it, I like that possibility. So we'll see. And then AMC released some random Taylor Swift news last week. We'll keep an eye on it. It's a meme stock, and technically we talk about meme stocks with GoPro and Donut this week, so I said, we might as well put another meme one on there. But to close out every week, I always like to talk OTCs, because that's how I started trading back in 2015. And BTQQF is definitely one of the top of the list. You gotta watch it. It's such a nice day now, holding 530. And it's definitely trending. And if it keeps holding, it looks like it's going to be trending up. Maybe we get a breakout until Friday. Who knows? But I like the chances of a possible follow-up. And then we have that QNCCF I already talked about. The volume just sucks here. We have another one that the volume sucks, but it's in a sector. This is a robotic stock, XBOTF. And then one metal stock that we took over the weekend. I'm actually really disappointed because I sold it way too soon. But it's up 15%. Just shows you the example of what we look for day in and day out. And you can see here on the buy and sells that so we were getting at 337. Now it's at 387. So nice over the weekend play there in the simpler room. If you guys are wondering what this is right here, this is actually the Simpler Trading Maverick Mastery Room. It's the room that I actually created, and I've been now 10 months in here. I go live trading twice a week, or twice a day actually. Every morning and every afternoon we live trade, and we look for opportunities like these. And UURAF was one we took over the weekend. So for those of you guys that stayed patient in the room, great work. And then CR, the last two are sub penny stocks. I know I get that cheap. I go all the way in the dumpster. But the sub pennies I'm looking at, CRCW is a Bitcoin one. And I know it looks really ugly, but trust me, if these things hold, they have a chance to really go. And this one is now just touched the penny. Every penny's always a big spot when it comes to penny stocks. So keep an eye on that. And then the last two, I would say, or the last one, AITX, it hasn't really made any type of move. But this is another like robotic stock, AI robotic camera stock to keep an eye on. It kind of started up, but with all these other robotic stocks moving, RR, Wrecker, everything, why not add that one too? But that wraps it up with my weekly watch list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Would love to have you on the team in the simplertrading.com website under Stock Mavericks Mastery. Also, click that subscribe button if you love the free content. I got videos coming out now weekly. I won't be doing the weekly watch list just for the next 2 weeks. But tomorrow, I'll be live. Every Tuesday, we're going live. So catch me live. Much love out there and stay safe this week. Hopefully, you guys can tag a bag on one of these trades. See ya.